This is New York, the busiest place in the world, where people are constantly on the move. But imagine trying to build or lift a new structure while demolishing an old one, all on a 20,000 square foot lot. While Las Vegas recently grabbed headlines with the remarkable Sphere Theater, New York has been quietly working on something probably even more complex. And, you're doing this in one of the most crowded spots in the city. That's what's happening with the $2.5 billion TSX Broadway. It's a 47-story tower located on the site of an old Broadway theater in New York City at the corner of 7th Avenue and 47th Street. No doubt this is an incredible engineering achievement, showing just how amazing New York's construction projects can be. In today's video, we'll see how this project is transforming the skyline and pushing the limits of modern engineering. This project takes structural and creative engineering to a whole new level. There's an old building on the corner of Broadway and 47th Street that might not catch your eye at first, but it is special. This place, originally the Palace Theater, opened back in 1913 and quickly became one of the most famous spots in the world. It welcomed the biggest stars of its time, and it was a true gem of entertainment. In 1987, things got a modern twist when an Embassy Suites hotel was built right above it. So, if you're in the area, you're walking past a piece of history with a cool new twist. In 1987, New York City's Landmarks Preservation Commission named the theater an interior landmark. This meant the developer couldn't tear it down, but had to build around it. So, they constructed a 43-story hotel above and around the theater, using huge steel and concrete columns for support. The hotel has 460 suites and nearly hides the theater's front with billboards for the first 12 feet of its height. The theater remains tucked inside, a hidden gem behind the modern hotel's facade. In 2015, the team behind the Palace Theater announced big changes. They plan to renovate the theater and even lift its auditorium by 30 feet to make space for new shops on the ground floor. While some people were worried about preserving the historic building, the Landmark Preservation Commission gave the green light in November 2015. By June 2018, the New York City Council also approved the plan, allowing the renovation and the new development to move forward. Before the theater could be lifted, some important work had to be done. The first step was to demolish 75% of the building. You might wonder, why not just demolish the whole thing? Well, New York City's zoning rules came into play. The new building plan was too big for the site, but zoning laws allowed new projects to match the size of the old ones, as long as 25% of the original building stays intact. The challenge? The old building wasn't built to handle the new load, making the project even more complex. The developers got a huge financial raise, with $780 million from a group led by UBS, a $1.25 billion loan from Goldman Sachs, and $494 million from foreign investors using the EB-5 visa program. Construction kicked off in March 2019, starting with the demolition above the 16th floor. However, things hit a snag later that year when the project was delayed. The contractors needed to check a nearby building, but the property owners didn't allow the inspection for over a year, causing the delay. Engineers had to dig beneath the building to get ready for the work ahead. They had to be super careful because they were working on the foundation of the old structure. First, they detached the Palace Theater from its base and supported it with 5 feet of reinforced concrete. The building they needed to move was massive, weighing about 14 million pounds. To do this, they used 34 custom-made steel posts controlled by a special machine, like a mix between a steel support and a hydraulic jack, almost like solving a giant puzzle. The theater needed to fit perfectly into its new space, so about 30 feet of the building above it was removed. Once the old hotel above was fully torn down, the theater was finally ready for its biggest transformation yet. After 5 years of careful planning, the big move began on January 7, 2022, using 34 powerful hydraulic jacks. The theater was slowly lifted 30 feet over 4 months. It moved at just a quarter inch per hour. Safety was the top priority, with sensors, vibration monitors, and GPS systems in place. Every inch of the lift was carefully checked inside and out to make sure everything went smoothly. While the theater was being carefully lifted, a brand new tower slowly rose around it. By February 2022, the tower reached its full height, but the theater was still only partly lifted. Finally, when it reached its new spot, the Palace Theater got a $50 million makeover. They restored the beautiful old plasterwork, added soundproofing, updated the mechanical and electrical systems, and gave the backstage areas a modern touch. The goal was simple: to keep the charm of the historic theatre while making it ready for today's needs, so future generations can enjoy it too. Let's talk about what's happening inside the building. The theatre was raised 30 feet to make room for several new floors of high-end retail stores. With so many people passing through Times Square every single day, adding more shopping space makes perfect sense. You can imagine how valuable that space is in such a busy area. In just a minute, I'll share some numbers that show just how much money this move will bring in, and trust me, it's pretty incredible. But before that, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you like this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Did you know that over 98% of you watch our videos without subscribing? Just think about what we could achieve if everyone hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it makes a huge difference to us. Right above this retail space is something truly unique. Facing the main street, there's a stage that pops out of the world's largest moving LED doors. These massive doors each weigh a whopping 86,000 pounds, a true engineering marvel. The screen that these doors are a part of covers 18,000 square feet and wraps around a skyscraper right across from Times Square famous red steps. At 9 stories tall, this incredible display uses top-notch technology with an 8mm pitch and a resolution of 3500 by 7400 pixels. This makes it the clearest and most detailed screen ever seen in Times Square's history. Here's a fun fact: when the LED screen on the building's facade first lit up in January 2023, they let people buy a 15-second ad spot for just $40. The offer was so popular that over 200,000 people downloaded the app in the first 6 months. People jumped at the chance to have their ads shown, and many of the slots were fully booked day and night. So the big question is, was spending $40 for just 15 seconds of fame worth it? Last year, the venue had its big debut with a concert by Post Malone. Behind the main stage, there's a cozy 150-seat area for concerts and other events. And don't worry, the Palace Theatre is still there in the back half of the building. Some folks have raised concerns over the years, saying the theatre shouldn't be covered up because it's an important part of New York City's history. They believe it's a piece of the city's past that everyone should be able to see and enjoy. Above the stage, you'll find a multi-story entertainment area that's sure to impress. On the 10th floor, there are 2 balconies and a restaurant where you can grab a bite to eat with a great view. The 11th floor will be the hotel lobby. This will be Hilton's very first Tempo-branded hotel, offering a unique vibe compared to their other high-end options. With 661 rooms, you'll get direct views of Times Square and floor-to-ceiling windows. The top floor of the new development will feature penthouse-like suites for both performers and brand partners. The total cost for building and renovating this project is estimated at around $2.5 billion. While this sounds like a huge amount, it's mostly because of its location. Retail rents in Times Square can reach nearly $2,000 per square foot, making it one of the priciest spots in the world. To put it into perspective, a typical 10,000 square foot retail store in the US would cost a staggering $20 million in annual rent. With the TSX Broadway offering around 75,000 square feet of retail space, it's clear why developers are investing so much to make this happen. The project was a real mix of challenge and fun, showing how creativity and smart engineering can solve tricky problems. Got any ideas for future videos or feedback on this one? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Your suggestions and thoughts are really important to me. If you're sharing a new idea or just letting me know what you think of this video, I appreciate it all. See you next time.